The Shirvan Speaks podcast is brought to you by FitzGerald Financial Group, a division of TowneBank Mortgage. NMLS number 512138. Shirvan Joseph, our host, is NMLS registered. NMLS number 188513. The contents of this podcast are for informational and educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors. Shirvan Joseph and FitzGerald Financial Group are equal housing lenders. This is not a commitment to lend. Enjoy.
Welcome to Shirvan Speaks with Dan FitzGerald, the leader and founder of FitzGerald Financial, which is a division of TowneBank Mortgage. We've had numerous podcasts with Dan FitzGerald, and we have one that's lined up in a great way, which we're going to talk about topics like Fitz culture, recruiting, overcoming market, particularly an adverse market, just mortgages in general and where we've come and where we're going. Dan's been around for over 40 plus years in this industry, and he's a selfless leader, which he doesn't take compliments well because that's who he is. But he's an amazing leader, and we'll talk about some of that as we go on. But let me introduce you, and then we'll start off with our question. Dan, welcome.
Welcome, my friend. Always
Good to have
always
you.
good to be with you.
Good to have you. So we've gone through a tumultuous time in the past, year and a half, 2 years. And, everybody always in our industry, we go through these cycles. People freak out. Companies close up shop. It's just amazing to me that every time, and I've been with you in this current iteration of our existence together, about 15 years.
Yeah.
And overall, we've known each other for about 35
We
years.
worked together 35 years ago.
Yeah. So it's amazing watching you handle the dynamic of overcoming market adversity and just the different things that you do. Tell me, how do you navigate and resolve or have that resolute leadership to overcome these obstacles that we've seen in the market?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say, it's kind of like coaching a game, and
Right.
you just keep playing.
Yes.
You get down, you get behind, you get whatever. You just gotta keep playing.
Right.
You're not going to give up. So that's not an option.
Sure.
You got to be the eternal optimist.
Yes.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I know one thing: people need places to live.
Right.
People need to borrow money in order to find a place to live.
Right.
And people love good service.
Right.
Okay, so if you do that and you put it together and people want to have a good place to work.
Right.
So if you try and put all those things together, it's kind of basic. Like you've heard me say 1,000 times. We're professional, nice guys.
Yes.
Who do fifth grade math.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We do fifth grade math. There's nothing really complex about the mortgage.
That's true.
But it's a tough market.
Yeah.
When you've got a market that exploded the ways ours did, and
Yes.
3 times the amount of people get in, and then it contracts, 8-fold,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have all these extra people. There's a time period there. So one is you got to make sure you didn't overreact when things are really good. And you
Right.
didn't.
Right.
And then 2 is you got to make sure you protect your core of people and get them through. And everybody that's on the team kind of realizes where you're at.
Sure.
And realize that our main objective is, just to get through this time period, make sure we're going to all survive,
Right.
make sure everybody's got something to eat,
Mhm.
and now we move forward. And we've been very good at doing that. We didn't cannibalize our company.
Right. Right.
We didn't go through mass layoffs. We had a few tough decisions we had to make, but not many. Closed, consolidated 1 or 2 offices, still have 15 offices in the area. So we had to look at things that made sense and focus on it.
But as you focused on these things and you navigated through where we come, going forward, how do you see the market? How do you see FitzGerald Financial TowneBank developing and making the most of where we come from and where we're going? Because I don't look, nothing against our competitors, and we are the major leagues, but we just seem to have a different way of doing things.
So we do. So look, you and I also, when we worked together 35 years ago,
Right.
we were at a big company.
Yes.
We worked at Chase Manhattan at one time.
That's right.
And, they closed every office in Montgomery and Maryland.
Yeah.
They decided to
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
That they did that during this tough period of time.
Right.
So, and that's not our philosophy. Our
Right.
philosophy is how we're going to survive. And one thing I know is that when you're being faced with challenges,
Mm-hmm.
culture becomes the key.
Correct.
And the employee becomes the key. And so if you go back to how do we build this thing?
Right.
We never hired a headhunter. We never ran an ad in the paper. You had to
All true.
You had to be recommended by another person
Right.
to get into the family, and there's no getting out. Once you're in, we adopt your family. That's the way we feel about it. We don't just hire an employee. So when you have all that and it does get tight,
Right.
you don't hear people talk about quitting. People talk about changing and evolution.
Right.
Evolution.
Evolution.
So that's the whole key to it all.
Mhm.
We didn't have much mass runoff. We didn't have many people leave. We've got a great group, and I feel really blessed that we made it through this time. And it's because of the group of people that we've assembled.
No, and that's very true. And which in turn brings me to this question. You have established a diverse family here. What makes this family tick, and how does it work so well as a family? How's it with when times are tough, how does it feel so good that the family functions the way they do?
One thing that's good is you need to know each other's families.
Yeah.
We have 100+ employees, but I guarantee I can tell who everybody's kids are. And
Yes.
we know all that.
Yes.
And I think that's why we have family events are included and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But even more important, I think that, we've had one or two kids have great things in their lives.
Sure.
We've had some kids that have had some difficulties in their lives.
Right.
And, I think it's important when I hear that one of my employees' kids are having a rough time, that we reach out to that child, even if they're adult child in many cases.
Yeah.
And say, hey, we're here. We're going to give you a boost. You're part of our family. Your mom, your dad's been working here for X number of years. We want you to know that we're gonna reach out. We're gonna help you. And I tell you what, get a great satisfaction, great reward out of that. It's all core based around family. And that's our culture. And then revolution backwards.
Right.
And I had a great appointment last night. I love still meeting with customers, but I went to called a high school reunion of a bunch of guys.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Together. I ended up walking up to one of my old teachers
Right.
from high school, guy I love. Make it long story short, he started telling me about his daughter. So his daughter came in last night for called a counseling session on the house. And it's just, it's great that I'm sitting here with generations later telling her stories about her dad, the way he treated me in high school and all that. And I love the guy. And it was awesome experience. But when you get your chance to kind of go back, those are the relationships we want.
Yeah.
We want people that, hey, we know them in the community, they know us. We're part of the community. We want to be out there, supporting the community, important for us to participate in the events, but it's important for us to be sponsors, but not, you've heard me say, somebody asked me to be a sponsor. The first thing I say, what are you going to show up? What's your involvement?
That's right.
Your second story, one that we went to last month, I really enjoyed.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
And I always say, we'll support that as long as our employees support that.
Right. Well,
we're not here to write.
And that's true, but you showed up.
Well,
there's a lot of people that would have thrown money and so forth from your position, and as the division president, you showed up and gave your support in another way, and you found that that's something that you like to support going forward. So that's a good thing. Tell me, with our culture, with the team and the family aspect, tell me what is the number one reason, or a couple of reasons, why a producing loan officer should look to come to FitzGerald Financial TowneBank? Well,
one thing which wasn't very popular a couple of years ago, I told people have to start coming to the office.
Oh yeah.
After COVID, I wanted people back in the office. It's amazing how many people I interview right now, and they come back to the interview. Even the person last night, they come through a full office like, man, there's a lot of energy.
Yeah, the energy.
That's such a key thing. How do you sell culture and you tell people you're going to be sitting at home in your den working on your computer? But we got a great culture here. But So, I mean, our culture is about us being present.
Right, right.
And us being supportive. And, and when you do all those things, good things are going to happen. So it starts with getting people to interact with each other on a daily basis.
Right.
One of the things I joke around, I tell people, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, when we slow down, pick the phone and call somebody.
Yes.
Just say, hey, how you doing? Find somebody in an office that you haven't talked to in 6 months. Pick up the phone. I try to call 3 people a day.
Right.
And, I catch people, what are you calling me for? Call to say hi. I've been talking to them.
Yeah.
I start the conversation. This is Danny, your friend. I always want to start the conversation. I'm not calling another wrong.
No, Danny, you're right. Yeah, well, you have to preface that if Dan FitzGerald is calling.
So, I mean, I think it's important that you have that interaction.
Yes.
That you have those phone calls and you laugh, that you talk about the commanders, you talk about the match, you talk about whatever it's going to be, you talk about their kids' game, you talk about what they do. So I mean, that is what forms your culture, and that's what makes you fight a little bit harder when you're in a tough situation.
No, I think I agree with that, and I always joke that we're the major leagues, but there's just a very high level of participation and production here with the loan officers we have and the processors and the closers and underwriters. And so often we talk about producing loan officers, but this team goes deep with the support staff is just amazing. I mean, that's why we are what we are.
We've got the best staff, period.
Yes.
I mean, we
bar none. Right. I agree with that. In your opinion,
with zero turnover.
No, and that's the surprising thing that people would never understand. We have people that have been here, and I say forever because of lack of a better term, but they've been here forever. I mean, they've been with us through thick and thin, and they love it here because, again, it's family. So tell us, with the Fed making the recent cut, and it's for all intents and purposes, we think there's going to be a cut in December. What is the correlation with rates and the Fed cut? We saw the market go up a little after the Fed cut.
So the most difficult thing to explain to the public out there is that since the Fed cut, the rates have gone up.
Correct.
And it doesn't make sense to a lot of people.
Right.
But it's in the public an indication of where we're going to be heading long term. They're not going to have this big wide of a margin as we have right now.
Sure.
And that'll come back into play. So we'll, in my opinion, see some drifting of rates now.
Right.
And in a favorable way. One of the conversations I had last night with that young lady self-qualifying was, what happens if rates do drop?
Right.
Well, what's probably going to happen is you're going to see prices start to increase.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, what's great is we are seeing people get contracts accepted. We're seeing sellers start to pay some closing costs. There haven't been 10 and 15 contract presentations being made on one house as much anymore. So, I mean, you're having some opportunity to buy right now that you're not going to have right now in the long term. I mean, if things were to pick back up, rates were to come down, you're probably going to see a drifting back upward of pricing. And, I had said, well, I use a scenario right now. Okay, we're at 6.5 right now. If rates get to 5.5,
right?
What would that do to your payment? Mm-hmm. And we figured that it was if we had a 5% increase in values,
right,
that payment wouldn't have changed. And so there's a good chance that if rates go to 5.5%, are you going to see a 5.5% increase in values over a 6-month period? That's 1% a month. That's nothing.
Right.
So why are you waiting 6 months to get to that 5?
Exactly.
So let's talk about now being a great time to buy, and then
right.
I'm not a big believer typically in the buy down the whole thing.
Right.
I say get in.
That's right.
Get in with no points.
Right.
Get out and get another loan when you need
right.
it.
Right.
So, I'm very optimistic about things. A lot of people say that, hey, they held back for electional purposes or whatever, but the best thing about the elections is over with.
It's over. Now let's move on.
People are still going to want to live in houses.
Right. Yeah.
I was joking. People said October, so we're not going to live in a house. In the election, we all need a house.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
We all need, we all need to get a positive. You've heard me talk about our sunny day campaign.
Yes.
Everybody needs to talk about the sunny days that are ahead of us. And there's a lot of great things. This is a great country we live in. There's a lot of opportunity.
So, and you're just 100% accurate on that statement. But in closing, give us 1 or 2 of your pet projects.
People need to interact
Right.
with people. People need to feel that you care. People need to know that you care.
Right.
People need to know you, and you need to know them. And you can't do that in all this, computerized world. So the first thing I pitch to everybody, you want a relationship with a customer, go see them.
Right.
I don't care what, maybe you don't see them on day one, maybe you start the process, by the computer and Zoom, the first meeting, but at some point in time, you need to get personal with them. So that was my number one constant referral. And whenever we have a customer relationship issue,
Mm-hmm.
I look at the loan officer, I say, when did you meet with them? And every time they tell me, well, I never met with them, I just talked.
Right.
So that's why you're.
Yeah, there's no connection.
You gotta have a connection.
Right.
And
right.
and they gotta realize that, listen, if you're applying with our company, you're making a difference in our company.
Yes.
And we're
Yeah.
not Willis Park. We're not chasing
No.
that. Your loans are gonna get processed by somebody who lives in this environment. The kids go to school here,
Sure.
part of the community. We're going to know you. You're going to know us.
Right.
We're going to be running into you in the grocery store.
Oh, absolutely.
Through
We
your
know
sponsor
the area.
letter.
We are the area.
Probably might end up coaching when you're
That's right. That's right.
We're gonna see each other. We're gonna
See each
interact,
other.
and and we're in it for the long haul.
Yeah. Lastly, TowneBank. What do they mean to us?
They basically provide us with everything
It's
that we need
right.
In a partner, from a funding partner to a strong financial institution that's always there for us.
Right.
It gives us the ability to do things in multiple states. We don't have to be a broker. We're a direct lender. It gives us the ability to be quick, fast, and secure.
And that we are. On that note,
Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.